With the unstable branch of Rimworld 1.5 being out now for a few weeks, all of your favourite mod creators are updating their mods to 1.5. Now, you could say, Joe, why are you not reviewing these big mods that have been updated and they've added new features? Well, you've already played with those mods. I want to show you mods that you've not seen before and are new to Rimworld. Introducing the extra mini turrets mod here. This mod has been added roughly 2 weeks ago now, and this mod really caught my eye because I thought this is a thing that we haven't actually seen in Rimworld, and I love seeing unique things added to the game. Whilst the concept of just adding more turrets is historically old and something that we've always known, having them look like this is very unique, and I'm going to show you why as we get into the content. So as we start looking at the content of this mod here, first impressions always count. Let's start with the Steam Workshop page. Now, what originally caught my eye was the uniqueness and originality of the fact that these turrets look like base game stuff. This doesn't sound like something that is unique and original, however, every turret mod that I seem to come across adds these amazing things. Don't get me wrong, they're all really interesting and cool, but I don't necessarily want to use something from World War II or something in my Rimworld playthrough. I want to sometimes use something that fits with Rimworld. And that was what caught my eye when I first saw the graphic. And I think it does a fantastic job if that's what you're looking for. Shows you what's there. The rest of the Steam Workshop page, however, leaves a lot to be desired. Yes, it does tell you what's in the mod. It gives you an FAQ and it tells you what there is and there isn't. It needs a little bit more. I would like to see some more descriptions of the items, maybe some graphics of the individual turrets that are added here. Could definitely be better. So what do all these turrets look like in game? First, we have the steel shotgun mini turret, following on the steel EMP mini turret. Next, we have the steel stun mini turret. Following on, we have my favorite, the steel doomsday mini turret. Then we have the steel shell mini turret, a very interesting concept of that one. Next, the minigun turret, a classic if you ask me, and the newly added steel sniper mini turret. Then finally, we have the steel flame mini turret. All of these individual turrets are very unique in their own special way. I'm going to get in more into the individual traits and characteristics of these turrets later in the video. So there we have it. Those are all the turrets that are in this mod. Now, for previous mod reviews, I've looked at the utility, the functionality of things, whether things are content heavy, balancing heavy, and what they do within Rimworld. This mod is a content mod. So what we need to look at in terms of our review is, what is the content like, how good is it, and does it actually make sense? So in the next section of this review, I will be going through each individual turret and looking how they perform within a kill box situation, because let's be fair, despite how much we hate kill boxes and I am very anti-kill box, we do actually use them, and we do tend to use them. Let's get into things, and let's start with what the flame turret actually does. So the flame turret, it does a decent amount of damage. It obviously sets people on fire. It does what it says on the tin. That's what we like. And I imagine if you have a lot of these aimed at one person, it would absolutely crispen them up like Anakin on Mustafar. Next one we're looking at is the shotgun turret, and as it says on the tin, it's a shotgun. Deadly at close range, absolutely brutal. If you imagine this in real life, limbs would be going left, right, and center. You've heard of the phrase raining cats and dogs. Imagine that with limbs. This is what the shotgun turret is basically doing. Not very good at range for very obvious reasons, so a lot of these within a close ranged kill box would be lethal. Then next, the EMP turret. EMPs, they stun mechanoids. Cool. Now, speaking of stunning people, we then have these stun turrets. Very interestingly, a new concept added to Rimworld. This I thought was quite powerful. It just stuns people in position, shoots very slowly, but it stuns people for a very long time. This turret would go really, really well in a kill box with several other turrets. This is a sort of support turret, you could say. Next, we have the shell turret. So this one, another very interesting concept added to Rimworld. It provides a very good amount of coverability, and not very much damage at all. So you can get your colonists to stand behind this. They can use their gun and shoot at the same time, whilst this is soaking up a lot of damage. Very nice turret, actually. I'm very impressed with this one. Next, the minigun turrets. Now, whilst I have put them against a hell of a lot of piggies here, they seem to be doing decently. I think this is going to be a suppression turret. Several of these put down to slow enemies down. I don't necessarily think that these are very powerful. Just like the miniguns in base game and everything. Not very powerful, but a lot of them can make a difference against a decent amount of enemies. Next, these sniper rifle turrets. These ones have been recently added to this mod, and these ones are a little bit strong. I think they definitely do a lot more damage than what they should do, and they fire pretty quickly as well. For a sniper rifle, doesn't quite make sense. We'll get more into the stats on this one later in this video. And then last but not least, in terms of the turrets, the Doomsday rocket launcher turret. Funnily enough, this one does exactly what you expect and just goes boom. This one is fantastic. I love this one so much. However, you probably wouldn't use a lot of these deep into your defenses. You'd use these ones right at the very front line to do the most amount of damage as quickly as possible. Otherwise, it'll just destroy your base. This one is my favorite, though. I like this one a lot. So there we have it, that is all of the content added by this mod. The 8 new turrets, the way they fire and everything, and how they fit into the base game. I really like this mod. I really like this mod. This is one of those mods that you just chuck into every mod pack because it fits into so many different ways, and because it is so similar to the base game, it's so universal to so many playthroughs. However, the Steam Workshop page did let it down a little bit whilst I was grabbed by the actual thumbnail of the mod, and I was very lucky that I saw it, because if I just looked at the description and everything, it would have been a little bit let down. It could definitely use with some improvements, but that's very easy to sort. The rest of the content within this mod, it's perfect. I think for what it's designed to do, to fit into base game and to accessorize the base game Rimworld experience, I'm very comfortable giving this mod a 9 out of 10. I love this mod so much. It just works, you know? Next, let's move on to the quality. So next, let's move on to the quality of this mod. Now, looking at everything, I will be using the stuff that I did in the content section of this mod review and use it in the quality section. I will be reusing the stuff, but I will be using that to base my opinion. I'm zooming in on everything and looking at all the quality of everything. I like it. It all spins nicely. You know when you look at something and it's just satisfying because it works and it fits and it does exactly what you expect? It's like that. It all spins nicely and it all looks correct. And most importantly, it fits in very well with base game whilst just being slightly upgraded, so I know that it's modded. The only exception to this is the sniper rifle turret. This is the one that's been most recently added. It seems a little bit off for some reason. I'm not sure if there's texture quality or something, but it just doesn't quite match the rest. I don't know what it is. This is just me. Maybe I'm just being silly. I don't know. So that's going to be it in terms of the quality of this mod. I'm going to be using everything that we saw in the content section and in the quality section here to give my general score. And overall, I'm very impressed with the quality of this. Despite the steel sniper rifle turret being slightly worse than everything else, I'm still very impressed with everything. It all fits into base game and everything works and makes sense. I've not seen anything that doesn't make sense, in fact, because everything is working perfectly, in fact. So I think for quality, I'm very comfortable giving it another 9 out of 10. The only reason that it's been marked down is just the quality of the sniper rifle turret. It's just a little bit lacking there, and I think that we could potentially see just a little bit more here and there. Next, let's move on to the balancing. So next, let's look at the balancing. Now, whenever a mod that I look at adds something that does damage, I have to look at them and think, is this going to enhance my game, or is this going to be the only thing I use in my game because it's so overpowered? So what I've done for these turrets and everything is I've taken the turrets that are comparable to something in the base game, something that has a base game equivalent, and I've looked at the stats of the damage. The expectation is the turret always does less and always performs worse than something that is actually base game. The weapons should always do better themselves. Let's get into things and let's start with the shotgun turret. So the steel shotgun turret, it does the exact things I expect. It fulfills the parameters I've set perfectly. Less damage, less range, less RPM, less stopping power, and less accuracy overall. There's a couple of stats in which it does beat the pump shotgun and the chain shotgun in, but otherwise it's worse than what we expect from a base gun in the game. It's perfect, right? This is what I expect from a turret, while still also being powerful and still being usable. It's not nearly as good as what we would expect when a colonist using it. Then next, the EMP launcher compared to the EMP mini turret. Once again, it kind of follows the pattern. Has less range. It does for some reason show damage, but I mean, it's just an EMP. It has less accuracy, but it's, you know, it's the EMP launcher. It follows the pattern perfectly again. Balanced. So there we have it. That is 2 turrets so far that we've looked at that make sense, they're balanced, and they fit all the parameters that I've set. Let's move on to the steel Doomsday launcher turret. This one doesn't make any sense. It has the same damage, it has the same building damage. It's unbelievably good. The only way that I can see this kind of not working is the range, and there's, you know, accuracy as well. But as we saw, though, it doesn't really matter when something explodes and just kills everything within sight. This one doesn't make sense. I think the only way this can be nerfed even more is just reduce the damage a little bit, reduce the range, and make it so it's literally like a blind child throwing a dart at a darts board. You know, it's the only way that's going to ever be balanced. I know this is probably here for fun, and I do like it. This is my favorite turret, but it's just not balanced. Then the next one, we have the steel minigun turret. This one, on paper, kind of looks balanced. It's got the minigun turret has got less damage and everything. It's got the same sort of RPM, but what really confuses me is the accuracy. The accuracy for the steel gun mini turret is unbelievably high compared to what it is just on the ground for a colonist. Doesn't quite make sense, and it doesn't seem quite balanced. Once again, doesn't really make sense. There's a bit of a trend here, if you can notice. Then next we have the sniper turret. Now this one is very strange. The sniper mini turret does more damage than the sniper rifle. Okay, alright, whatever, you know, there might be a quality difference there, you know. Also, there is a shooting accuracy of 98% for the steel turret, but then it goes on to follow on, the accuracy is then less compared to what the actual sniper rifle is. I'm not sure of what stat is the actual true stat here, it's a little bit confusing. So for some reason, the sniper rifle turret is actually better, if anything, than the base sniper rifle. Doesn't make sense. This is obviously a very small change that can be made in the technical side of things, and something that can be very easily addressed, but this one really doesn't make a sense to me. Then last but not least, we have the flame turret. The only thing comparable to base game is the flame bow that's in the Biotech DLC. There's no other flame weapon, flamethrower, or anything that's in base game. This one, it seems balanced to the flame bow. There's slightly more damage as we kind of expect, but it makes sense. This one's kind of balanced, I think. So that's going to be it for the balancing. As you can tell, I'm a little bit baffled, I'm a little bit confuddled, and I'm a little bit confused. I'm confused at the numbers that have been provided here. Some things are balanced, some things are overpowered, some things are underpowered, and things don't quite add up where they should. This is one of the few times in these mod reviews that I genuinely can't work out if this is balanced or not overall or not. I think for the balancing here, these are all very easy changes that can be made by the mod creator if they feel like it, and I just want to see things make a little bit more sense, if you get what I mean. So for balancing, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10, not because I think this is necessarily overpowered, not because it's underpowered, it's just confusing, and I don't really like the feeling of being confused. Next, let's move on to compatibility. So next, let's look at compatibility. Are there any bugs, and how will this fit in with your playthrough? So starting with bugs, there are no bugs. I have had absolutely no issues in my time playing with this mod. However, I feel like because these are based off mini turrets, any issues you have with mini turrets in the base game, you'll probably have with this mod as well. Other than that, no issues, no problems. Perfect. Then how will this fit in with your playthroughs? Are you going to be using this a lot or not? Well, it's very important to point out right at the very beginning here that this is not compatible with Combat Extended. It seems to be a theme on the Steam Workshop page at the moment that a lot of mods are specifying whether or not they're compatible with Combat Extended. Personally, makes no difference to me. I don't really like Combat Extended and I don't use it very often. However, for those that are using it, it's a little bit of an issue. With the rest of your playthroughs, however, it doesn't quite fit in with everything. I understand how much I like this mod and how it's very similar to vanilla Rimworld. It just doesn't fit in with like various playthroughs. It's sci-fi experience that this wouldn't fit in. Medieval obviously won't fit in. This kind of fits in with a very basic vanilla playstyle, a very basic mod style and pack. I like that. That's what I like from my mods and my mod packs and everything. But for some people, it might not be the best. So I think overall for compatibility, I think this mod performs very well. The issues with Combat Extended, whilst if you are passionately using Combat Extended, it's your favourite mod, you won't want to use this mod for very obvious reasons. I think the stuff that it only fits in certain playthroughs is kind of neither here nor there. Whilst it is a point that you need to keep in mind if you're using certain other mods that maybe outrank this mod completely, it's not the biggest thing. For compatibility, I think I'm very happy giving this a 7 out of 10. No bugs or anything, and it all does fit into pretty much every mod pack as long as you're not too fussed. Next, my mod recommendations. So before recommending you guys any mods, I need to remind you that we are still in the unstable branch of 1.5, therefore not every mod that I want to recommend you guys has been updated, but here are a few. The extra turret mod, this one is actually created by the same mod creator, so obviously this is going to go really well. Smart turret covering, so you can actually use the shell turret to its full capabilities. Prisoners should fear turrets because why on earth should they not? More turrets, more usabilities. And last but not least, the Stone into Steel, a hyper weave adventure. A previous mod I reviewed and I think is a fantastic way for you to get all the resources you need to build the turrets. These are just a few I've recommended for this mod. I think pretty much anything by Oscar in the vanilla expanded team would fit fantastically. Anything by Sarge Bjornsson would fit fantastically with this mod as well. This is a mod that would fit into so many basic vanilla mod packs and everything that you're going to have a fantastic time. Like I said though, it will not fit in with anything like that's too sci-fi or too medieval or anything for very obvious reasons. So I think for mod recommendations, I'm very content giving it a 8 out of 10. Fits in fantastically with so many things, but there are a couple of things that it doesn't quite work in. Last but not least, let's do my conclusion. So as I start my confusion, let me start by saying is I love this mod. I think this mod adds so many different variety that complement vanilla Rimworld fantastically. I love this mod. But let's get into my ratings for it. For content and quality, it received a 9 out of 10. For balancing, a 4 out of 10. For compatibility, 7 out of 10. And my mod recommendations, 8 out of 10. Giving it the grand total score of 37 out of 50, which is a very respectable B rating. This mod is so close to becoming an essential for your mod packs. So close. I just want the balancing to be refined a little bit more. It seems a little bit sloppy, a little bit confused, and it can be made and changed in such a good way so easily that I hope the mod creator does it. I just want the numbers to make sense and they just work in my mind. For some reason, they're just not clicking with me for some reason.
The numbers, basically. What do they mean?
But just still, I genuinely recommend you check out this mod. I think this is a great mod if you're running a very basic vanilla style with very few mods. It's a really great supplementary mod to add to your playthroughs. So thank you very much for watching today's episode. Please remember to like, subscribe, and make sure you tell your mum about me. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.